Hey, what's up, everybody? Today, I want to go through something that's been coming up a lot with our clients and something I'm seeing in the marketplace reoccurring. It's questions around when you should increase your pricing, how you should increase your pricing, and really why you should, and how you can actually justify price increases. Before I jump into it, my brother and I started an e-commerce brand, turning over 500K a month. We've been through absolutely everything. So if this is something you're looking to get help with in terms of sales and revenue, drop a like or a comment below, book an appointment, and we can have a chat about how we can help you do that. So let's jump straight in. So in the beginning, I'll use some examples of what we've done. We've been through 3 price increases in our journey so far. The first was essentially when we started our business, we didn't really have a basis for how we should be pricing our products. We were so raw and so new into e-commerce and the industry and how you should price your products that we literally just took a shot in the dark. I think I recall that we priced our products at about $99 for a juice pack, a juice cleanse is what we do, which was probably to say fairly was under the current market. We thought the best strategy would be to undercut the market proportionately, that way get a few runs on the board, get people buying our products and basically deal with everything later. In reality or in hindsight, this didn't really leave much margin for us. The product itself was actually quite expensive to produce, not only like the raw inputs in terms of the cost of goods, but then obviously our labor and time and everything else on top of that, which of course, when we're starting out, we weren't even taking into account. If we did take that into account, we certainly wouldn't have been profitable at all. And so within I would say probably 6 months, 6 to 12 months of us actually starting it and pricing it that way, we had the, I guess, arduous decision to say, look, we need to increase our prices to make it more beneficial for us, to increase our margins. And so we absolutely labored over this because we thought, we would lose business. We thought we would have people up in arms, our current customers saying, refusing basically to pay for the increase. And it honestly really sort of gutted us at the time that we had to go and do this because, we don't like that, I guess, that conflict. However, we eventually just decided to pull the trigger and do it. Okay, so this was a decision around our margins at this point to actually, let's call it, become profitable by selling our juice cleanse packs, or at least more profitable. So one day we just said, look, we're going to increase it by, I think it was probably, let's call it $20 maybe, which is about 20% increase, which is significant, I guess, in the scheme of things. And we did it one day and basically the sales remained the same. It was either new people purchasing or existing customers just really didn't care or mind. We had built all this anxiety up in our head about the price increase, and business just ticked over. But what this gave us the ability to do was, as I say, become actually profitable, but with the added prices, actually provide more value for our customers. And so we actually felt, I suppose, obligated to try and create more value and over-deliver even more so. Even though people were coming back, we had a repeat customer rate and still do of between 50 and 60% per week, even as our business has grown. But we really think that stemmed back to how good our customer service was, how good our product actually was. In the beginning, in hindsight, we actually feel now that we were undervaluing our product immensely by underpricing ourselves. And so that first initial decision to go and do that gave us the confidence to push forward and also to value our product and give people a reason to value our product and service as well. And so that was a really successful one. And I guess the takeaway from that is to be able to hedge between profitability and not profitable. And so that was the key decision for us that time around. The second price increase came about probably 2 to 3 years later when we actually had a capacity issue. And so, of course, good problems to have. But one of the worst things you can do as a business is actually, run out of stock. we had some supply issues with bottles and bags and all sorts of other things at this time, pre-COVID this was. And we simply couldn't keep up with the demand, or more so, there were more people wanting to book for our cleanse packs than we had capacity for on that day. Now, that is not a bad issue to have in terms of people lining up at the door, but if you get too far out, in our experience, then people go elsewhere. They don't want to have to wait. It is still, whilst you do prepare yourself and you make a conscious decision to do a juice cleanse, if people can't order it now or in the foreseeable future, call it, a week. Like generally, most of our sales will come within 48 hours of actually the delivery process, production and delivery process. Not many people think that far out. If they can't order it within that period of time, then they will go elsewhere. Okay, and this was becoming our next problem. So what we decided to do was increase the pricing so that those that we were getting on board were paying a little bit more and compensating essentially those that went elsewhere. Again, we labored over this. This was really challenging for us because, again, we've got morals and we don't want to overcharge. We don't want people to have bad experiences and not feel they got value out of it. So we probably increased the prices again by, I would say, about $20, probably about 15 to 18% in this case. So it probably went from 117 to maybe 140 maybe, I think. And again, we rolled this out. We thought we built up this huge anxiety in our head, and at the end of the day, it didn't make a difference. Potentially there could have been a few that we don't know about that said, oh, look, now it's a bit too expensive. A, I'll go elsewhere, or B, I'll just do it myself or find another solution, to be fair. But in terms of our overall total sales and revenue, it was pretty consistent. I wouldn't say that there was a massive, dip of when people dropped off and a noticeable difference of, the price increase was what made our sales drop. But what this means over the longer term is that if it remains consistent in the short term, over the longer term, more people are seeing you and not knowing that there was a cheaper price beforehand, buying, same thing, buying. And then those people become your repeat customers and it's self-perpetuating from there. And so we became more profitable again because we were able to do the same capacity for a higher price. And then once we actually had a new facility and our supplies opened up again, we were able to compensate or accommodate more purchases at that higher price. So suddenly we had gone from small margins, small volumes, to larger margins, small volumes, to larger volumes, larger margins. And so that's perpetuated from there. And we have since, graduated from probably 2, 3, 4 production facilities in size. Same with logistics. We've been able to accommodate more and more as time goes on. We do have capacity constraints in the grander scheme of things, but certainly not more than, accommodating between probably 300K in sales a week. So, up to probably, let's call it $1 million a month in actual sales. We've got capacity for that. And we were able to accommodate quite easily 800K in sales in October last year. That was where we kind of peaked in the market, and we've got seasonality in amongst that, but averaging about 500K in sales quite easily with the systems we have underway. And so that was the second price increase. And that brings me to the third price increase, which was probably, I think about 2 to 3 months ago, where essentially we needed to increase the prices due to supply increases. Supply of vegetables, supply of bottles, bags, etc. It was an actual cost of goods increase. And so what that meant is that through COVID and through other times where distribution and everything was getting a lot more expensive, a lot more time delays, etc., prices were obviously increasing. So our cost of goods were going up, our margins were going down at the same price, right? So same price, higher COGS, less margin. And it got to a point where essentially in total our margins had shrunk by 30%, like the cost of goods had actually increased by about 30%, which is very significant. So we were forced basically to say, look, sure, we're still running slightly profitable, but our margins are being cut again by 30%. We need to actually, pass some of this pricing on, this loss or that margin on to our consumers. What's the best way we can actually do this to compensate, our losses? And so this is a pretty common thing that you'll see with, let's call it insurance companies. You'll see it with a lot of businesses will say, our margins have gone up, therefore we're passing on to your consumer. Again, we didn't feel great about it, but in order to provide the best service and quality product, we really had to increase that. What we did do is we only increased the prices for our 1 and 2 day cleanse packs. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I believe. There's some customs in there too. But we said anybody who's going to order more than 2 days, i.e. 3 days plus, price is the same. We want your business. We love you guys for, sticking with us through the hard times and everything like that. But we must increase it on the smaller margin packs, being the 1 and 2 days. So that was the only price increases that we actually adopted. Again, with our, we were a little bit more strategic in this sense because, again, 3 years down the line, with a price increase, our database had grown to about 35,000. Our customer base probably to about 30,000 at that point. We felt like we needed to communicate with people. And we actually did do this. We said, look, anybody who's purchased before our price increasing on this product, get in before this date and we'll save it for you, or book X amount of time in advance. But our prices will increase due to X, Y, and Z being, obviously our inputs increasing in price. So that was the third price increase. And again, we got a really great response in the sense of acceptance from our customers, from our market. We're very lucky in the sense that we have built such great relationships. People have been so happy with our products. We've got, 3,500 5-star reviews, that the fact that people are still happy to pay and they still see value in what we do. And I think probably without saying it, people do see how ethical we are in the sense that we wouldn't just increase profits, increase prices to sting people for more money. That's not what we're about. In the early days, we actually said we'd love to give our products away for free, but that's not a business. So they were the 3 instances where we actually increased pricing. And I think what you can take from that is there's no ideal time to increase a price. We did it strategically in the sense of when, I guess, it came to mind and when we needed to. In all 3 cases, there was a reason for it. And that's probably the first thing to understand is when should I increase the prices? As I say, it's probably more to do with where you're at in the market, number 1. Number 2 was for us the capacity issue. And then number 3 was actually our cost of goods increased. So they were the 3 times when we actually increased those prices. The strategy behind it will vary, but what I'll definitely say is don't overthink it. We overthought it so much. We created a lot of anxiety around what and when we were doing it and how we were doing it. And at the end of the day, there's always going to be some people that know you and might make a comment here and there. Whether they act upon it, whether they get shitty about it is up to them. If they do approach you and say, hey, look, this sucks, like I'd rather get the previous price, look after them. Say, look, here's a voucher for the next 2 purchases or something like that. But look, that's all we can kind of do, and justify your reasons. But the majority of people won't. And obviously, as your business grows, people will see you for the first time every single day. And so they won't know any difference towards what the price was a week ago or a month ago or 12 months ago. So yeah, get rid of that anxiety. Just make a decision, do it, do what's fair for you and for the customer. As long as they see value, you'll continue to grow. And with that addition in margin, you'll be able to provide better service. You'll feel a lot more connected and a lot more grateful for the customers that you do have. And it'll be a greater experience all around. We don't foresee another price increase right now. We'll have to obviously work on our margins with our cost of goods, but something will come up in the future, and we'll have to be able to justify that somehow. Just so there are three times when price increased. One thing I do want to touch on is the actual correlation between pricing and value. What we found with those price increases is that we actually, ironically, grew in the 3 months after each price increase. Now that sounds really strange and a little bit ironic, but the point is that there is perception of value in higher pricing. If you think about, let's call it Apple, they have the highest prices in the market. Whether they are better in a sense of whether they cost more or whatever to produce is another thing I'm not sure of. But certainly the perception of being expensive creates more value and satisfaction to people. And so that's what we correlate our price increases to. And so if you can use that in your brand, in your eComm business, then it's interesting to see what would happen. Honestly, you just have to test that, see what happens over those following 3 months, and see if it actually makes an impact. But the bottom line is, I would say, don't be afraid to do the price increases. Be strategic in the way that you roll it out, but at the end of the day, take the action and make it happen. So look, I hope that was valuable. Let me know if you got any questions, but price increases, always a very topical thing. Increase margins, increase customer satisfaction, and increase your customer service there. So thanks for that, and I'll see you in the next one.